Hello, my name is Emma. Welcome to this short tutorial video on how to set your electricity tariffs via the Smappee app. The purpose of this configuration is to ensure that the Smappee charging station knows perfectly when importing energy from the grid is cheaper. In this way, a charging session can be perfectly planned at the lowest possible cost if the own production of solar energy is insufficient to charge the car. In the Smappee app, there are 3 possible settings. Or you can use the standard rate. This configuration assumes a cost of 22 cents per kilowatt hour. This cost is valid at all times of the week. You can use this with a single hourly rate. To have the price calculation correct in the app, you can still adjust the cost. A second option is a static rate. You specify the different rates that apply at different times of the day or week. This can be used, for example, with a dual hourly rate, also better known as the day and night rate. You manually set the applicable rates. If your contract changes, you still have to go to the app to adjust the data. A final option is a dynamic rate. Through a dynamic rate, the cost varies every hour of the day, and there is a different rate every day. With a dynamic rate, you set the region of your Smappee location. An automatic update follows every day. Let's start by setting a static rate. One more small remark. A contract in which the rates are reviewed every month or every quarter is also considered a static contract. It is then up to you to implement the changes in the Smappee app. To keep the configuration transparent, we will work with an example. In the example, there is a day and night rate. The day rate is only valid during the weekdays and from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. At all other times of the week and weekend, the nightly rate is active. There is no specific rate for public holidays. It's not always easy to know your net rate per kilowatt hours. After all, you can see the gross rate in your energy contract, but there are a number of additional costs and taxes. When in doubt, it is best to enter the gross rate. The exact representation of the costs will not be correct, but the difference between day rate and night rate will apply. To set this up, go to the Smappee app and choose Settings. Within the settings, select Tariffs and set up your tariffs. Finally, confirm that you are using static tariffs. By default, the app assumes a single hourly rate. You can adjust this via the Manage Rates button. On the next screen, you can add an extra rate via the plus button. You give each rate a logical name and a color representation. Of course, more important is the cost of the rate. Both a cost to import energy from the grid and a cost to export energy to the grid can be specified. For the management of a charging session, it is the import cost that counts. In the example, we have created 2 rates in this way. The first rate is called day rate and has an orange color, while the second rate is called night rate with a green color. The next step is to link the created rate with the correct period. To do this, click on the Added Tariff button. In the example, we add the day rate in this way. So we choose day rate, select all weekdays, and specify that this rate starts at 6 a.m. and ends at 10 p.m. When you complete it, you will notice that the screen has been adjusted and that every weekday has an extra orange block. This indicates that the day rate is active at those times. By setting the day rate, the Smappee app has immediately created all other periods. There is a period for the weekdays between midnight and 6 a.m. A second period defines the weekdays between 10 p.m. and midnight. And finally, there is a period for the weekends. To set the night rate for these periods, all you have to do is select each period and adjust the rate from default to night rate. The end result is a graph in which the correct rates are set for each day of the week. The Smappee charging station uses this graph to plan charging sessions via smart charging. In this example, it is likely that a charging session will not start until 10 p.m., even if the charging cable has already been plugged in at 6 p.m. In addition, the charging station will strive to complete the charging session by 6 a.m. at the latest. In addition to the static rates, there is the possibility to work with a dynamic rate. Of course, this requires that you have a dynamic contract with the energy supplier. Initially, this was mainly used by companies, but in recent years we have seen an increase in the number of energy suppliers who also offer this for private individuals. Just to briefly reiterate what a dynamic contract entails. With this type of contract, your rate is not fixed for a certain period. Every day, the energy producers and energy suppliers determine the rates. A different rate can be enforced every hour of the day based on supply and demand. By trading energy on the EPEX SPOT exchange, the rates are determined 24 hours in advance. In addition to the gross price of the exchange, the energy suppliers may charge various additional costs. These are parameters such as a fixed rate, a multiplier, and a tax multiplier. This is information that you can find on your contract. In our example, we set the dynamic rate for Belgium. Some countries, such as Denmark and Italy, are made up of different regions. It is therefore important to select the right region. To do this, go back to Settings in the Smappee app and select Tariffs. In this screen, we choose Set New Tariffs. In the next screen, choose the correct region. In the example, Belgium. The final step is to set the flat rate and multipliers. To do this, take your energy contract to hand to find the right information. If you are unsure what these costs are, you can also leave the parameters blank. After all, the shape of the graph will be retained. Cheap moments remain cheap and more expensive moments also remain more expensive. You just have to take into account that the representation of the cost price is not 100% in line with reality. Thank you for your attention during this video. Now you know how to set the electricity rates correctly in the Smappee app. If you have any further questions, please contact training@smappee.com. See you later.